At the beginning of the movie, we see a girl inside a house covered in blood and terrified. Suddenly, someone drags her away. It turns out to be a man wearing a goat mask, a symbolic representation of Baphomet, the half-goat, half-human figure often associated with Satan. The masked man brutally kills the girl by stabbing her in the head with a machete. At that moment, the girl wakes up in a panic. It was all a nightmare. This is how the movie opens, and it's important to note that the term Dajal refers to a deceiver who considers himself or presents himself as God, misleading people from the right path, much like the devil. The scene then shifts and we're introduced to Marul and his friend and co-worker, Fadi. As it turns out, Marul was the same person who woke up frightened from the nightmare. Both Marul and Fadi work for the police as crime scene cleaners. That means their job involves going to crime scenes to clean up blood, remove evidence, and transport dead bodies. At the moment, they are headed to another such site. However, there's an issue. Fadi had forgotten the case file back at the office. That file contained a full report on the crime scene, detailing what happened and how. Fadi shrugs it off, saying he remembers the address and that he'll just go, clean up, and leave. After all, this is their job. He mentions this because both he and Merrill were doing the work out of necessity. They were financially struggling. Fadi believed that just doing the cleanup was enough and didn't see the point in worrying about the report. As the two are driving along the road, their van suddenly gets a flat tire. They both get out to change it. While they're working, Fadi brings up Merrill's twin, his sibling who was separated from him when they were just 2 years old and never found again. Merrill admits he doesn't remember much. He doesn't even know whether it was a brother or a sister. The only thing his mother ever told him was that the name was Lukman, and Merul never asked for more details. While they're changing the tire, a man pulls up in a red car with his wife, although the woman isn't clearly visible. The man steps out and asks if they need help with the flat. He tells them that this kind of thing happens often because kids in the area throw nails and sharp wooden pieces on the road. He knows this because he lives nearby. As the tire change is nearly complete, the man prepares to leave and warns them to watch out for snakes, as the area has many. Then he drives off. Merul and Fadi eventually arrive at the site, a house located far from the city. As Merul looks at the house, she tells Fadi that it all feels strangely familiar, like deja vu. They begin unloading their cleaning equipment from the van, and Merul spots a little girl in the distance, but she quickly vanishes. Deja vu is that odd feeling where something seems like it has happened before. It was that exact sensation Merul was experiencing. The two enter the house, which has no electricity. They decide to explore it anyway. Merul takes the downstairs area while Fadi heads upstairs. As Merul explores the lower level, he comes across the main crime scene, blood on the floor, and it doesn't look like a self-inflicted act. Then Merul hears a strange noise and investigates further. He finds a fuse box in the kitchen, but the lights still won't turn on. If only they brought the case file, he might have known more about the situation. Meanwhile, upstairs, Fadi finds another crime scene. He comes down to tell Merul. Now they're both puzzled. 2 crime scenes in the same house? What could have happened here? They go upstairs together to inspect the second site. Merul begins taking pictures and asks Fadi to check out the other rooms, just in case something else is there. As Fadi explores, he comes across a locked room. He tries to peek through the keyhole and sees someone inside. He's instantly terrified. As he turns to leave, the door swings open on its own. Fadi looks inside and becomes even more frightened by what he sees. Meanwhile, Merul notices something under a chair. He reaches for it and finds what looks like a human finger. He's startled and drops it, but when he looks back, the finger is gone. Then he hears Fadi calling out and rushes to him. Fadi shows him a third site, yet another area where a tragic incident had occurred. This one appears to be a suicide. Fadi now regrets not bringing the report, as it might have explained what went on here. Merrill, unsettled, tells Fadi they should just get the lights working, clean up the place, and leave quickly. Elsewhere, we see the little girl again. She runs to her grandmother, Layla, and tells her that 2 men have entered the house. Layla becomes visibly distressed upon hearing this. Clearly, there's something about that house that the local people know and fear. Back in the house, Merrill and Fadi begin cleaning. But once again, Merrill hears a mysterious voice and goes to investigate. As Myrtle begins to walk into the room, we see the ghost of a woman standing silently behind her. Shortly after, we cut to a shaman named Isaac, who is deep in prayer when he suddenly receives a call from Layla on his cell phone. Back at home, Marul and Fadi decide to take a short break. After resting, they agree to split the cleaning duties. Each one will tackle a different side of the house. Fadi takes responsibility for one side, while Marul heads over to clean the area where someone had once taken their own life. Fadi finishes cleaning his side and begins to walk toward Marul when his foot catches on carpet. As he stumbles, the carpet shifts, revealing something underneath. Curious, Fadi lifts the rug and discovers a pentagram drawn beneath it, clearly part of some kind of ritual. Confused and disturbed, Fadi doesn't know what to make of it. Searching for answers, he opens a nearby cupboard in the room and finds a disturbing collection of satanic and demonic items. Inside, he comes across a box, and when he opens it, he finds a plate, 6 red candles, and a small idol of Baphomet. There's also what looks like a ritual dagger, and a book wrapped in red plastic and bound tightly with barbed wire. Despite the ominous appearance, Fadi attempts to open the book. The cover is creepy, adorned with a skull. As he struggles with the barbed wire, a thorn pricks his finger, and a drop of blood lands on the book. Suddenly, the book springs open. At this moment, we realize this book is eerily similar to the one from Evil Dead. The contents are entirely related to satanic rituals. Fadi, either out of curiosity or fear, reads a word from the book. Baal the bag. Instantly, strong winds whip through the house and something unseen enters from the forest outside. Fadi is terrified, unable to comprehend what's happening. This clearly draws inspiration from Evil Dead, where simply reading from the book unleashes evil forces. Meryl then heads upstairs and finds Fadi emerging from the room, visibly shaken. However, he says nothing to her about what just happened. The two go back downstairs and notice the front door is wide open, so they close it and return to cleaning. But then they realize something alarming. The areas they had just cleaned are now dirty again, as if untouched. Meryl also comes across these satanic ritual items and realizes the seriousness of what's going on. Both of them become extremely frightened. They rush to the door, trying to escape, but the moment they touch the doorknobs, their hands burn. They try the windows, same result. Some kind of force is keeping them trapped inside. Frustrated and scared, Marul turns to Fadi and lashes out in anger. He asks how Fadi could be so reckless. Everything about that book and those items screamed evil. How could he have thought it was safe to mess with them? Marul demands to know what Fadi read from the book. Fadi admits he only spoke one word. Meryl calms down slightly, and they start brainstorming how they might escape. Fadi suggests the answer might lie in the book itself. But Meryl is skeptical. If reading just one word trapped them here, what would happen if they read the entire thing? Meanwhile, Layla arrives at Isaac's place and tells him, "It's starting again," referring to what's happening with Marul and Fadi. It turns out this has all happened before. Isaac and Layla are already aware of the dark events tied to this house. Isaac, realizing the urgency, starts preparing for action. Back at this house, Marul finally agrees to follow Fadi's suggestion. According to the book, in order to break the ritual and escape, someone must sit in the middle of the pentagram. Fadi volunteers. He then has to drop a bit of his blood into the plate from the box. Fadi does as instructed and begins to recite the 4 forbidden words from the book. As he speaks, he starts spinning the plate. Suddenly, outside the room, he sees a girl, the same one who was attacked with a machete by a man in a goat mask earlier. At the same time, Marul spots a woman in red clothing, holding a knife, moving toward him menacingly. But just as she's about to strike, the spinning plate drops to the floor and the woman vanishes. Fadi and Marul both collapse, unconscious. After a while, they regain consciousness. Feeling hopeful, they head toward the door, believing they're finally free. But when they step outside, they find themselves surrounded not by familiar streets or buildings, but by dense forest. Nothing else exists. They realize with growing horror that they haven't escaped at all. Somehow they've been transported to another world. The fear sets in again as they face this chilling new reality. They go back inside the house, and to their horror, they discover the dead bodies of the people who had previously died there. Terrified, they rush upstairs to the third side of the house where they see a man hanging from the ceiling. But within seconds, the figure vanishes into thin air. Shaken and terrified by what they've seen, they quickly run back downstairs. Trying to make sense of it all, Fadi nervously says, "Maybe this is just a dream." But Marul, furious and desperate, punches him in the face to snap him out of it, making it clear that none of this is a dream. Both of them now feel utterly helpless, unsure of what's happening or how to escape. As they sit there, overwhelmed and distressed, a sudden noise catches their attention. They rush to check it out and realize the body of the man from the first side of the house has mysteriously disappeared. Confused and alarmed, they question how a corpse could vanish on its own. It couldn't have moved by itself. Still processing this, they look outside and spot the bodies of two men lying near the house. Terrified, they begin to run, only to come face to face with the masked man from earlier. He launches an attack on them, but they manage to escape. Fadi runs back up to the third side, where he once again sees the body of the hanging man. Overwhelmed by fear, he bolts out of the room. Meanwhile, Merul, now scared and cautious, hides and grabs a piece of broken glass to use as a weapon. Kyra, too, finds Fadi and hides in the bathroom. But then the ghost of the woman from earlier appears, banging her head repeatedly against the bathroom door. She bursts in and attacks Fadi, vomiting blood all over him before vanishing once again. Fadi is horrified by the experience. He stumbles out of the bathroom, visibly shaken, and runs, only to stop in terror as he sees something else that frightens him. The scene then cuts to Marul, who comes out of hiding and begins searching for Fadi. Just then, the masked man ambushes him. At this point, we learn there are now 3 ghosts haunting the house. The first is the woman murdered by the masked man. The second is a random male ghost. The third is the ghost of the hanging man. And the masked man himself acts like a fourth entity. During the encounter, the masked man stamps something onto Marul's shoulder. In retaliation, Marul stabs him in the stomach with the broken bottle. But to his horror, the attack has no effect on the man. Marul runs upstairs and spots Fadi entering a room. He follows him in and sees someone lying under a sheet. Believing it's Fadi, he pulls the sheet back, only to find no one there. Marul steps out of the room, only to encounter the ghost of the dead man outside. Suddenly, Fadi grabs him, covering his mouth and pulling him into a room. Inside, they start discussing how they might escape. Fadi suggests burning the cursed book, and fortunately, he has a lighter with him. Without wasting time, they rush back to the third side of the house to retrieve the book. But when Marul tries to ignite the lighter, it won't work. Frustrated but determined, he decides to head to the kitchen to burn the book there. As they begin walking toward the kitchen, a voice calls out Marul's name from behind. They turn around to find the ghost of the hanging man standing behind them, only for him to vanish the moment they look at him. They hurry downstairs with the book, but are intercepted by the ghost of the woman who blocks their path. The two panic and run back upstairs. In the chaos, Marul bumps into something and falls. To his shock, he realizes he's hit Fadi's dead body. The truth hits him. Fadi had been killed by the ghost of the man he feared, and the one he had been with was never the real Fadi. Suddenly, the possessed version of Fadi appears, with glowing red eyes, laughing in a deep demonic voice. Meryl begins to fight him, punching him repeatedly. Fadi keeps insisting he isn't who Meryl thinks he is. In a burst of rage, Meryl lands a blow so hard that Fadi's head rotates 360 degrees. But in a terrifying twist, the head snaps right back into place, confirming to Marul that this entity isn't Fadi. Terrified, Marul runs and hides inside a room. The ghost of the dead man appears again. Meryl punches him, knocking him down. In that moment, he realizes something. These ghosts can actually be killed. He pulls out the same weapon, the X, from the man's head and kills him, or rather, destroys the ghost. Then Meryl rushes outside where the demonic version of Fadi is waiting for him. Another fight breaks out, and Marul manages to kill him too. He heads back downstairs with the cursed book, but once again, the ghost of the woman attacks. This time, Marul smashes her head with the book itself, crushing her. Determined to end it once and for all, Marul runs into the kitchen to burn the book, only to find that the gas cylinder is empty. Now Marul felt completely helpless. overwhelmed with sadness. But that wasn't the end of it. Soon the masked man appeared and began attacking him. The man stabbed Marul in the stomach and attempted to finish him off with another blow. Just then, a mysterious light shone through, weakening the masked figure. We then see both Marul and Fadi unconscious, and it's revealed that they are no longer in the real world. They're trapped in another realm, a spiritual world. In reality, they're still inside the same house, but unconscious, stuck in this alternate plane after performing a ritual. Fortunately, Isak and Layla arrive and manage to bring Marul back to the real world. Afterward, Isak asks Marul about Fadi, reminding him that they need to bring him back too. Meanwhile, inside the spirit world, Fadi is still alive. He regains consciousness and starts moving, eventually making his way downstairs. But the masked man appears again and stabs Fadi in the thigh. Somehow, Fadi escapes and crawls his way upstairs. The masked man catches him again and stabs him multiple times in the stomach before trying to kill him by stomping on his head. At that moment, Layla and Isak arrive. Isak begins chanting, and the masked man starts to weaken. It turns out that the light which appeared earlier was actually from Isak and Layla. Taking advantage of the situation, Fadi runs away. Eventually, Isak, Layla, and Fadi all pass through a doorway, returning to the real world. This reveals that their consciousnesses had entered the spirit world to retrieve Fadi's soul. The masked man had been trying to drain the spirits of the living and destroy them so they would perish in the real world as well. Later, we see Marul wake up in a panic. It's the same scene we saw at the beginning of the movie. He rushes to check on Fadi and sees that he's safe and asleep. Layla then tells Marul that she also tried burning the book, but no matter what, it always ends up back in that same room. That's because the house is cursed. It originally belonged to her brother, and after his death, it passed on to his son, Adam, and Adam's wife, mshorror. Both of them had made a pact with the devil. Marul then mentions that he saw a woman dressed in red. Layla explains that on the day when 3 people were murdered in that house, she had a dream where mshorror took an oath before the devil while wearing red. From that day on, mshorror wore nothing but red clothing. Layla admits she's not sure who Marul saw, but she's certain the house is cursed. And if Marul and Fadi don't stay grounded in the real world, they risk disappearing forever. Layla also shows Marul a photo album. As Marul flips through it, he recognizes someone, the same man he encountered at the beginning of the movie. He immediately tells Layla about it. But Layla explains that the people in the photo are Adam and his wife, mshorror, and they both supposedly died in a car accident 2 years ago. This means that the 2 people we saw in the car at the start of the film were actually Adam and mshorror. That's why the woman's face wasn't shown. There was something being hidden. The story now flashes back to the past, revealing the truth behind the 3 murders that took place in that house. They actually happened 2 years ago, and at that time, Adam and mshorror were still alive. In fact, they faked their deaths. What really happened is this. On the day Adam met Marul and Fadi, he shook hands with them and used that moment to hypnotize them. Contrary to what we believed, that house wasn't the actual scene of any crime. It was all part of Adam's plan. He deliberately directed Marul and Fadi to that location and instructed Fadi to read the book they found there. Meanwhile, we notice that mshorror's eyes are glowing red, which implies she has become a chosen one of the devil. Adam had a dark ability. He could hypnotize people, lure them into that house, and trap them in an alternate dimension. By uttering a special word, likely something related to hell, he would send them into that other world as sacrifices to the devil. So in reality, neither Adam nor mshorror ever died. They simply staged everything to make the world believe they were gone, so they could continue committing these horrific acts in secret. Their goal was to keep sending people into the devil's domain as offerings. Later, mshorror comments to Adam that Marul looks exactly like someone from the past. Adam agrees, saying he resembles that person, but he isn't truly the same. Then comes a shocking revelation. The masked man who killed the girl at the beginning of the film is none other than Marul's twin brother, Lachman. We are then shown what really happened to Lachman. Adam approached him and instructed him to end his own life, and under Adam's hypnosis, Lachman obeyed. After that, Adam put on the same mask and danced with mshorror. This took place 2 years ago, which we can tell because mshorror's eyes were still normal in this scene. It was only afterward that she must have taken her oath to the devil. Just like in Layla's dream. Layla had mentioned 3 murders, and now it's clear. The third victim was Lockman himself. Adam manipulated and hypnotized Lockman, forcing him to sacrifice his own life and sending his soul into the devil's realm. He later tried the same method on Meryl and Fadi, but this time, Isaac and Layla intervened in time to save them, breaking the hypnosis. But a lingering question remains. Why did Adam do this to Lockman in the first place? It's likely that Adam hypnotized Lockman to trap him in the otherworldly dimension. Once Lockman died, his spirit remained there, enabling Adam to use him as a tool. Whenever someone entered that realm, Lockman would kill them, making the sacrifices for the devil himself. There's even a possibility that Lockman too may have begun worshiping the devil. And with that final revelation, the movie comes to an end. But a lingering question remains. Why did Adam do this to Lockman in the first place? It's likely that Adam hypnotized Lockman to trap him in the otherworldly dimension. Once Lockman died, his spirit remained there, enabling Adam to use him as a tool. Whenever someone entered that realm, Lockman would kill them, making the sacrifices for the devil himself. There's even a possibility that Lockman too may have begun worshiping the devil. And with that final revelation, the movie comes to an end.